Breaking news. JLR investigates with the breaking news. Come on in, everyone. Come on in. We are going to talk about the case of Peanut the Squirrel and Fred the Raccoon. Don't forget about Fred the Raccoon, too. Peanut and Fred. This is a story that is breaking the internet right now, and there's a lot of controversy, a lot of people talking, and a lot of people outraged. And there's accusations all over the internet being thrown all over the place. I titled this video Peanut Karen, pointing to an individual right here. Her name is Monica Keasler from Texas. Oh, they're raking her across the coals, across the internet. They're raking her across the coals, folks, saying that she is the one that made the anonymous call to New York authorities that ultimately had a Department of Environmental Conservation, DEC, I never even heard of them prior, go to a home in Pine City, New York, where Mark Longo here owns a bunch of wild animals, had wild animals in his house, and authorities going in there and seizing animals, like with a warrant, and going there and taking him and taking the animals away. But it's very, very sad because, as some of you might or might not know, rest in peace, Peanut, because authorities put down Peanut. It's very, very sad, and people are outraged. It's interesting in our society that more people get outraged when it deals with animals than humans. I'll never understand that, but, you know, this little squirrel here was a famous squirrel on TikTok and Instagram, amassed of like 1 million followers. And everybody wanted to know, hello, Peanut, hello, Peanut. And there's so many videos of Mark Longo here, who you would say is the owner of Peanut, would make all these like cool videos. And I was watching the videos, and I never knew about Peanut prior to this incident. But I was watching the videos, and I'm like, this is pretty cool. He has a little squirrel, you know, eating waffles with them and climbing on him and doing little skits with them and stuff. It was cute. It's funny. It's cool to watch. Definitely. But, folks, they're saying New York has a law, and they're saying that squirrels are illegal to be in people's homes as a pet, unless, I guess, license or whatnot. We'll get into that. But we're going to talk a little bit about Peanut Karen here, because Peanut Karen, I'm not saying she called authorities to set this off, but she is being accused by a lot of people over the internet. A lot of people are throwing her name out there, saying that she is the one, folks. She is the one. They're saying she is the one that called an anonymous tip. Now, she used to work with wildlife in Texas, they're saying. And one of her friends came out to defend her, saying that she did not make the call. Did she or did she not make the call? Because the way I'm reading reports is the DEC, or New York authorities, received numerous anonymous calls about Peanut. Now, why would somebody call anonymously and say, oh, you got a squirrel inside someone's home, you know, to sabotage something that looks like it's safe and well? I didn't see Peanut causing any problems inside Mark Longo's home. I didn't see Peanut as a threat or a danger and everything like that. I seen that this guy took this animal in, and, you know, Peanut's almost like a cat and dog. And, you know, just being like a normal pet. So what is the threat here with that, to have this? Don't forget Fred the Raccoon. I can't forget Fred the Raccoon, too. We got to talk about Fred the Raccoon, too. But I don't understand how authorities would just take these animals out of someone's home and then put these animals down, euthanize them. How does that even make sense? What is even the logic to that? I don't understand. But, you know, and then New York is getting, oh my gosh, New York is getting it right now in reference to the DEC. They're putting out, and coincidentally, the superintendent of the DEC, coincidentally, her name is Karen, by the way. Her name is Karen. Her actually real name is Karen. So they're calling her a, you know, they're more or less calling her like a Nazi. They're calling, you know, government overreach. They're just saying this is atrocious. The government has no right to go into your home and take animals away. So it's a lot of things. A lot of people are talking about this. Let's get people up to speed, though, in case you don't know. So Longo here, he spoke to TMZ, and this kind of like I saw this video on TMZ, and I was like, "Whoa!" He speaks to TMZ, and he talks about what happened to him. He talks about apparently it happened October 30th, the day before Halloween. Authorities went to his house and treated him and his significant others like criminals, and then ransacked the home. He had a bunch of horses there. He couldn't even feed the horses for hours. Um, it's wild. All over a squirrel and a raccoon.
We just learned that they have euthanized Peanut
and the raccoon as well.
And the raccoon as well. I am so sorry. This must be really difficult for you.
It not only tears my family apart, but Peanut was the cornerstone of our nonprofit animal rescue. And 10 to 12 DEC officers raided my house as if I was a drug dealer. I was sat outside my house for 5 hours. I had to get a police escort to my bathroom. I wasn't even allowed to feed my rescue horses breakfast or lunch. I was sat there like a criminal. After they interrogated my wife to check out her immigration status, then proceeded to ask me if I had cameras in my house, then proceeded to go through every cabinet, nook, and cranny of my house for a squirrel and a raccoon.
They got a search warrant?
They got a search warrant. 4 departments and a judge signed off on a search warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon. And then they took them and killed them.
Why did they go through all that to get a search warrant for an animal that had been with you very safely, and the world witnessed this for 7 years? Why now suddenly did they show up with a search warrant and take these animals?
We haven't a clue. We don't know who made the complaints. Again, Peanut was an indoor squirrel, not harming anybody. He's been with us for 7 years. Not a single complaint was ever filed for this animal. We had him for 7.5 years. He became the world's most famous squirrel. We weren't hiding him by any means. He was all over TikTok. He became the first squirrel on TikTok to ever hit 1 million followers. He did every news station around the world. He's helped people. He's helped kids gather joy. And then we started a nonprofit animal rescue called Peanut's Freedom Farm to help animals like Peanut fight a good fight when they're in a neglected case or they're sitting in a slaughter auction. And he was the cornerstone of our life and our organization. We used his platform to help raise money for the 300 animals we have at our sanctuary.
That can't make you cry. I don't know if you're human or what, but whoa. Sad. This is a video, he put, I took the music off, but this is, videos of Peanut inside their home. And he makes videos. And Peanut became TikTok famous, Instagram famous. And you got this little squirrel, harmless squirrel, just playing inside the home. And I mean, that's the coolest thing in the world. It makes me want to get a squirrel. Look at that. And he's sitting there and he's playing with Peanut. Look, eating waffles with Peanut. Look at that. It's like, look, Peanut and the shredded wheat. Shredded wheat. It's so sad. And then you got, don't forget, Fred. Pet raccoon. Peanut the squirrel. Look. And then the proceeds that they make by putting these videos out goes towards animals and rescuing animals. I mean, no wonder the internet is outraged right now. Do you understand what I mean? Unless you're one of those people that say, no, they shouldn't have a right to have these animals inside their home. These animals or, you can't have a squirrel inside. 911. I want to call and make an anonymous report and report someone having an animal inside their home. I mean, it's horrifying. I'm mad. I'm literally mad about, just this scenario. I'm mad all across the board. He speaks yesterday, Longo. Now, he's getting a lot of support on the internet, particularly Twitter. Twitter is rallying behind him. Let's listen to this news report.
Mark Longo says he was blindsided on Wednesday morning when agents from the State Department of Environmental Conservation came looking for his famous squirrel.
I was just going through my daily routine of feeding all of our 71 rescue horses at our nonprofit animal rescue. Midway through that, a line of DEC officers, about 6 to 8 of them, showed up and gave me a warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon.
The search warrant said Longo was in unlawful possession of wildlife. He says agents ransacked his property for 5 hours until they found Peanut and Fred the raccoon.
We complied. We weren't allowed to move. We were police escorted into the bathroom. Mind you, this is a search warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon. And I feel like this was a little bit of an overkill.
Longo says he was working on the necessary paperwork to be able to legally own Peanut as an educational animal.
You're not only hurting my family by taking Peanut away from me, but you're also hurting the organization that we started on the back of a rescue squirrel. We named this organization Peanut's Freedom Farm because he has been such a big portion of my life and so many people around the world. We promoted the fact that squirrels are not good pets. They don't deserve to be inside, but there are rare occasions where you stumble on an animal that unfortunately can't survive in their normal habitat. That's the only reason why Peanut was ever a rescue animal.
Longo says he rescued Peanut 7 years ago in New York City after the squirrel's mom was hit by a car. He says he rehabbed Peanut and tried to release them into his backyard. But Longo says Peanut never developed the instincts to survive outside. After Peanut was attacked by an animal and lost half his tail, Longo let Peanut live in his home.
And then he became best friends with my cat. So that's when we turned to social media. We put some funny and silly videos out there, and the internet loved him. He became the world's most famous squirrel.
Peanut racked up a combined 3 million followers on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Longo says he believes Peanut's fame led to someone filing a complaint.
I'm no expert in anything involving politics of the state, but they sent 6 to 8 officers to my house from Albany to confiscate a squirrel and a raccoon, and it was signed off on a search warrant. So just that in its sense, to say that is one of the most shocking things I could say, in my opinion, is we just used resources and spent an entire day sitting 2 people who run a nonprofit animal rescue and treat them like criminals.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking.
That was a good story. He's getting a lot of support. They are getting a lot. They even got support from Elon Musk, who's been saying a lot of people justice for Peanut. So New York officials seized social media star Peanut the squirrel from its owner and killed it. Becomes a political issue days before a presidential election. So on October 30th, an orphaned squirrel named Peanut, who had become a social media sensation, was euthanized by New York state officials after being seized from the home of his caretaker, Mark Longo. According to reports, New York officials raided Longo's home and seized the squirrel along with a rescue raccoon named Fred. Both animals were taken down. The death of the beloved squirrel has sparked a backlash among fans of Peanut and animal welfare advocates. The matter now has become linked to an ongoing U.S. presidential elections, with Republicans slamming the government, accusing it of overreach. Billionaire Elon Musk also voiced support for Longo, and he actually put the tweet out. It's his tweet, but there's so many memes out there. I don't know if this is actually Musk's, but there's just so many memes and photographs and RIP Peanut, like memes in remembrance of Peanut. It's sad because if you I'm just saying, like, think about this, folks. Think about, like, you subscribe to channels, you subscribe to certain personalities, you like certain people, and you look forward to seeing what these people will do on a daily basis. And Peanut had 3 million followers on multiple social media platforms. So imagine you waking up one morning or going on one day to see how's Peanut doing? What's Peanut up to? And then you're hearing that Peanut was taken by the state, taken out of the house, home raided, and then they killed Peanut. Authorities. I mean, do you understand the outrage with the situation? Peanut had millions of fans. And even if Peanut just had one, even if Peanut wasn't even on the internet, was this the way for DEC to do this? To go into someone's home and treat him like a criminal and warrant it up? Like he said, like Longo said, a judge had to sign off on that. Squirrel Lives Matter. Authorities from the New York's Department of Environmental Conservation, DEC, and the Chemung County's Health Department raided Longo's home based on a complaint alleging potential health risks related to housing wildlife. Following that, remember that controversy between Carol Baskin and the Tiger King? There's a lot of controversy over that, about having tigers in that type of environment. And, you do get these environmentalist people or wildlife, some sort of proponents feeling like these type of individuals or these type of animals shouldn't be inside people's homes. And they start advocating for them to be removed or set free. It's a different belief system. Following the raid, Fred and Peanut were removed from his home in Pine City. This report here says, reportedly a woman named Monica Keasler had lodged the complaint. Now, she's from Texas. What does she have to do with New York? What does she have to do with Pine City? What does she have to do with that county? Chemung, is it Chemung? Chemung County. If true, now I'm not saying, I don't want to say this like she's the one that did it, but man, Google her name right now and put her in Twitter. There's journalists, there's all types of people saying that she admitted on forums, on social media, that she's the one that made the complaint. Why? If she did, why? Why? Why does it take a total stranger from across the country just to go and say, oh, I'm just going to call and make complaints and get Peanut? You're seeing videos of Peanut being treated like a child, like a pet. You're not seeing Peanut. Now, I 100% agree, if you see on the internet any animal being abused or mistreated, yes, make the call. Absolutely. But just to be out of jealous or have this feeling, oh, well, Peanut shouldn't be inside someone's home, I'm going to call the authorities and get Peanut taken out of this home. Is it jealousy? Is it jealousy because Peanut has all these followers? There's actually people out there that get jealous over people's followers or people's growing online popularity. Or is it a combination of all of it? Or Karens. Or just straight Karens. Karens that just pick up the phone. Remember Barbecue Betty? Or whatever name, BBQ Betty? And, the ones that make those calls, just calling because, they just want to report people, just to report people. Just because they feel like they can do it and they want to do it. And they just say, oh, I'm going to call the police. I think it's a combination of all of it. Somebody made the complaints. If it wasn't her, who? And how, let me ask, they're saying anonymous complaints. How does anonymous complaint trigger authorities to go to someone's house based off an anonymous complaint and do this? And kill a squirrel and a raccoon? And why kill them? Why? What is the logic? What is the logic here of killing a pet squirrel? Why kill the pet squirrel? Isn't there a due process? Like, if they get it seized, doesn't Longo have the right to challenge that and let the courts decide, what should happen? Kind of like, like a dispute, a controversy. but let the courts figure it out, and he could plead his case before they actually take the squirrel and put it down. What's the point of putting a squirrel down? A healthy, playful squirrel. Why just instantly take it? And that's scary, folks. Who knows in the future if they say, dogs and cats are a health public risk, and they start going in people's homes. I'm being serious when I say this. Who knows down the line, years to come, if we want to go this route and we want to get animals in the interest of health or whatever like that and start taking actual domestic pets out of people's homes. You form a bond with these animals. They are your children. OJ is my child. I would do anything and everything. If OJ was sick, OJ needed help, I would do anything and everything to help OJ. And now we have a new pet. Rio River, a little doggy. I will treat the animals like they are my children and give them the most love and attention and make sure they're healthy and make sure they're safe, secure, and okay. And if something happens to my pets, particularly if someone came in and taken away, think about that. That's like someone taking your child away. You've seen his emotion. I almost cried. It's sad. It's not right. Unless you feel like it's right out there. Unless you feel like, oh, well, by the book. You can't have a pet squirrel. Nope, they got to take it away. That's it. That's the rules. That's the rules, laws, regulations, policies, and procedures. You gotta have your squirrel. You can't have a squirrel according to New York Department of Environmental. I hate all these ABC agencies, by the way. I'm not a fan of all these ABC agencies. Yes, it is illegal to have a raccoon as a pet in New York. No license for pet wildlife. They do not issue any licenses. It is, and we're doing raccoon. I didn't even chat. I'm sure squirrels fall under this too. The DE says it is illegal and dangerous to have raccoons as pets. Of course, look, in the past they fined people for bringing a pet raccoon. Let me see squirrel. I put raccoon. Squirrels apply too. Obviously they have a criteria of things. Wolves, coyotes, foxes, lions, tigers, leopards. This is a raccoon, man. This is a little squirrel. This is not like a big, giant python that's 20 feet long. This is not a giant great white shark in someone's home. This is not a giant elephant in someone's home. Come on, man. It's a squirrel. It's a squirrel. The New York Department of Environmental Conservation states it's illegal for young wildlife to be kept as pets, and that is including a squirrel. So you got a Karen out there, or male Karen, female Karen, some sort of Karens out there that made complaints. Probably the same person making complaints. I wouldn't see how it was multiple different people. And then just they act on these complaints and they go in there and take a squirrel. Scary times. And they probably, to corroborate that Longo had a squirrel, they probably referenced his TikTok videos, right? So, it'd be scary to think if you could just call DEC and say someone has a squirrel in their house and they just come with a warrant without knowing if there's really a squirrel in the house itself. So whoever made this complaint probably referenced the TikTok videos, and authorities are clearly looking at the TikTok videos and the Instagram videos and seeing nothing but a loved squirrel and raccoon, yet take that information to a judge who then signs off on a search warrant, and then they go in and raid the home. Scary times. He also gave a statement in the last 6 hours. He put this 6 hours ago.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to update all of you, but I would first like to say how grateful I am for all of the love and support. You guys have no idea how much you have gotten me through the day and a half of just torment and a nightmare. I can't believe what transpired yesterday. I'm going to leave the details out of it, but we have the understanding that the DEC will not tell us whether or not Peanut is alive or not. So I can't give you a definitive answer of whether or not he's still here with us. I hope we have an opportunity to take him back and continue this journey on starting a nonprofit in a squirrel's name. Starting this nonprofit has been a dream come true. Showing the life of a squirrel has been nothing but incredible, and I can't thank you all for the love and support. So please continue to check the GoFundMe out. Please donate if you can. We have hired a legal team, so there's going to be a lot of expenses coming our way. So I just want to say thank you for everybody who signed petitions and emailed and called and really supported us. Hopefully we can bring Peanut home, but I can't do it without you guys. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for looking out for me and my family and the animals here at Peanut Farina Farm. It means the world to me. So thank you, and I will keep you updated as we go along.
All right, so maybe Peanut's not dead because he put that out a few hours ago, it looks like. Is Peanut still alive? Are they still alive? Because the media is putting Peanut and Fred as if the state put these animals down. But the state's not telling Mr. Longo anything about. That would be a miracle if Peanut was still alive. Oh my goodness. But it's put it out there already as if something happened to them. So I'm putting out what the media has been putting out there. They also gave they put this out there 17 hours ago. Rest in peace, my best friend. For the best 7 years of my life. Thank you for bringing so much joy to the world. Let me get this up here, and we'll listen to this right here and listen to this message. It's just so sad.
I don't know how I'm gonna say this. I just want to say thank you to all of you. Peanut was the best thing that ever happened to us. And we got confirmation that they put him down. I want to continue.
Well, let me just say something here. Maybe I had it backwards or whatever like that, but he's saying out of his mouth there that they put him down.
Continue to fight this fight as much as I can, but we need all of you to come together and help us. Please continue to help us raise money for the ongoing legal battles and for our nonprofit so we can keep Peanut's name alive. Thank you all.
This is Mark Longo on Twitter. He actually has Peanut as the cover photo. It seems like maybe I had that out of order, so the way I see it is as if Peanut was put down. I just want to say thank you. We put this 3 hours ago. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the support y'all have shown me and my wife. This is an absolute tragedy. Hope we get justice. Retweet this message to spread the word. Big thanks to Elon Musk. If you donate, please kindly send me a message. So we don't really ever put GoFundMes on JLR Investigates for other people, but I am going to share that they have a GoFundMe donate to that Peanuts Freedom Farm and Animal Sanctuary. So there is something out there. So if you feel compelled to help. This is a true story. I don't think this is a scam. I think this really happened. Media has put it out there. He also shared a photo on, let me get this here. He also shared a photo. I don't know what date this is, but it's on his Instagram. Don't forget Fred and Peanut. It is with profound sorrow that we share the heartbreaking news. On October 30th, the DEC made the devastating decision to euthanize our beloved Peanut, the squirrel, and Fred, the raccoon. Despite our passionate outcry for compassion, the agency chose to ignore our pleas, leaving us in deep shock and grief. To add to our anguish, they informed the media of their decision before even notifying Peanut's Freedom Farm his loving home. This demonstrates a troubling lack of respect and empathy. Their lives were precious, and we refuse to accept this loss in silence. Man. DEC. I'm sure people are going to be like, defund the DEC. Defund the DEC. Let's talk about this individual right here, because the internet is way throwing her name out there as if she's the one that did it. Now, again, I want to make this perfectly clear on JLR Investigates. I am not saying that she is the one that made the anonymous. But news reports the anonymous complaint that got Peanut taken. But news reports are out there with her name, including the internet, throwing her name out there. Throwing her name out there. Sarah Fields tweets. She got 250,000 people. Monica Keasler is the one who called the complaint about Peanut. She has now deleted all her social media. Make her famous. Make her famous. And they're putting a photo. Apparently, she is from Texas. Now, someone tweeted this. Updated on the wrongfully euthanized squirrel, Peanut, and raccoon Fred. Some ridiculous judge did sign a warrant for a squirrel on a call-in complaint by this photographer, Monica Keasler, to the DEC for unknown reasons. The woman proceeded to brag on her now deleted Facebook account. She's also ditched IG and LinkedIn because people found out who she was. So people are claiming the Monica girl is the one that made the complaint, and she bragged about it on her own social media. Reviewing facts. It's a pathetic case of government waste, overreach, and misuse of resources. These people rescued and raised Peanut as an orphan kit. They had him for 7 years. The man created an animal rescue sanctuary as a result and had all the app process done, and it was signed. The only thing waiting on approval was the enclosure. The animal was not capable of wild survival. They tried that initially, but Peanut came back with injuries. Some rescue wildlife is not releasable. This is exactly why rehab sanctuaries will keep select animals after rehab capacity is maxed. The raid involved making the victims sit outside their home for 5 hours while these maniacs tore up everything. They were denied the right to call legal counsel. Feds went through closets, leaving a complete mess. They broke soap bottles in the bathroom. They took apart the man's toilet upon escorting him before he could use it, because apparently there could be some important squirrel propaganda hidden inside there. Please make that make sense. They further questioned his wife's immigration status. She's from Germany, in spite of having all necessary docs and IDs. Now, I'm shocked about the immigration status, considering that, look in New York City right now, and, there's hotels and migrants coming in and everything like that. And apparently in New York City, they're forbidden from asking anyone their immigration status. But in this particular case, they're going asking his wife her immigration status, and she's from Germany. Imagine that. Because these psychos descended upon unannounced and hunted down these ordinary, docile rescues in their normally peaceful home, somebody supposedly got bitten. They used that as justification for killing them to examine brain tissue for signs of rabies. Let's be clear. They were observed putting on gloves. Was anyone actually bitten? So they're using the excuse of someone being bitten in that process as justification to put these animals down. What's really going on here? We all want to know. If you're thinking it's just a squirrel, look at your pets. Do it right now. Why do you think you are exempt from overreach like this? And what's different from your cat or dog? What? I am a feline rescuer. I also rescued other animals to either be rehab released or homed as appropriate. I've been doing this most of my life. In fact, birds, including a baby hummingbird once. Rabbits, lizards, snakes, dogs, what's the difference, I ask you? This is not about permits. He had the paperwork signed. It was in the final process. Why do the feds have the time and resources for one squirrel that's not bothering anybody? If they need something to do, I have a few suggestions, some legit tasks first, and a couple of instructions after that. I usually try to avoid posting things that end up in the political arena, but here we are. This is, as far as I'm concerned, a bipartisan concern anyway, so today I'm speaking up. None of us should be okay with this type of abusive home invasion. Do you want to be treated like a criminal, like a drug dealer on your own property when you have done nothing harmful to anyone? I'm absolutely certain that I don't. As a rescuer myself, this hits hard. I have tragic abuses committed by other organizations that I had to then correct and be the responsible party, costing me hundreds in the aftermath, plus deciding under duress of the situation to adopt as a result. Over the lifetime of a pet, that's thousands. I continue to do this in spite of not having a donation for it in 4 years. So to me, it's an important issue. We talk about all the time about being responsible citizens, but when it comes to actually demonstrating it, who steps up? In my neighborhood, it's just me out of pocket. So yeah, justice for Peanut. So the people are saying that Monica here is the one. And if you just put her name in the search, you'll see lots of info about Monica. But, folks, someone has stepped forward claiming they know Monica and explained the situation, saying Monica didn't do it. And she's being unfairly blamed for what happened with this situation. Now, I'm going to play this clip. It's always good to hear different sides of the situation, right? Monica knows what's going on. Here we go. This is someone claiming they know Monica.
I want to chime in on the squirrel raccoon thing that happened in New York, and this woman that's been accused of, perpetrating this grievous act of reporting the people who own the squirrel and the raccoon. So I know Monica Keasler. She has taken our family pictures before, and I know her character. She did not do this. She has been completely railroaded over something that there is no proof of. I have spoken to her personally this afternoon, and she explained to me that she used to be a squirrel rehabber, so she is still in some Facebook groups of squirrel rehab people. And this case was brought up, and there was a woman on there. This is what she told me. There was a woman on there that was making some rude comments about the owners in New York, the owners of the squirrel and the raccoon. Monica said something to the effect of, well, maybe you were the one that reported them, talking to the other woman. And somehow this got completely flipped around, and y'all are burning her at the stake with no proof. She didn't do this. Y'all have put out her address, her phone number, you fat shamed her. You've sent death threats. You're sending things to her house. I mean, you've terrified this woman, and she's done nothing wrong. How can you say you can stand with women and believe women if you are so willing to just crucify one with no proof? Just because somebody on an internet group says, oh, I have a screenshot, show me. Show me. When you go to file a FOIA act, go ahead. You won't find her on there. That's not the type of person she is. She did not do this. Y'all have got this all wrong. And every single one of you that put up something on this page or on social media about her, you've all slandered her. And she has every right to sue you. You destroyed her business, her family, her home. Enough is enough. Make it stop. The people you should be angry at is the government of New York. Not Monica Keasler.
So that's the only person I've heard thus far that's defending her and saying that she didn't do it. Do you believe her? Let's get Magnolia in the chat to talk about this case. There's a lot of things we could talk about this that was wrong all across the board, or unless you feel like things were done right here. Scary times, man. Scary times when they go around and just raid your home in it. Magnolia, come on in. Good morning.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
First off, Magnolia, the friend, what we just listened to, do you believe the friend that she's not involved, Monica?
No, I think she probably helped run the yacht.
You do?
Yeah. Well, didn't you say she's like the only one that you could find that was defending Monica?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She's pointing to some sort of Facebook drama or something like that. Yeah, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. I think they probably planned it together, Monica and some of her friends. Because people are saying Monica, she's actually a social media person. Like, she has her photography stuff.
Not anymore.
She wants to be, she wants to be famous on the internet. She wants to have big accounts and all these other things. And what they're saying is that she called it in. She's accusing them of, quote, exploiting the squirrel, which is the same type of thing we always hear. The Karens that always complain about true crimers, and they're like, they're exploiting tragedy and all this other kind of stuff. Well, I mean, they say that stuff because they're jealous. That's really all it is. They're just really jealous that other people are doing well on the internet and they're not. And, she probably thought she knows better, and that her friend is claiming that Monica even did squirrel rescue herself in the past.
So she knows about that topic.
So she would know that things are fine. I mean, if you look at the squirrel's Instagram and things like that, you can see clearly that the squirrel is being treated really, really well. Probably the happiest squirrel we know of. So yeah, I think it's like social media drama, jealousy, and they thought they were really going to get this guy. So, or
maybe just like trolling the guy or something like that, trying to maybe they didn't realize after the fact that this would happen, like where the squirrel would get killed.
Well, based on what they did, though, that it seems like that's what they expected. Because if they're calling the authorities in New York, that's the other thing that's crazy about this. This woman lives in Texas, for crying out loud. Like, it's not as if she's there where she can see the house or any of these things. So they went out of their way to call the authorities in New York and claim that these pets were being exploited for profit or whatever it was that they said. And they would have known that these authorities would go out to take a look. And she would have known the laws, I'm sure. She's claiming that she used to do squirrel rescue herself, so I'm sure she would know the laws regarding pet squirrels. So I think that she had knowledge and she planned it, and now I guess she's going to have to deal with the consequences, because now not only is she still not popular on the internet, now she's like the most hated person on the internet. So that's what it got her.
No, this is long time. Like, if she did it, oh my goodness, if she actually did this and made the complaint, her reputation's gone. Like, this does not come back. I mean, like, remember I said at the beginning, it seems like people get more upset over animal abuse than they do over humans, believe it or not. You know, how dare you do anything to a cat or dog or even a squirrel?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And you know, it's sad, because you can see he was a fun little house pet and a huge part of their lives. He helped them create their sanctuary there, their rescue for other animals. That's the thing that actually is so odd to me, because, you know, the report was made, the authorities were notified, and they had to go out there with a search warrant. And the way the owners described it, they were there for hours, going through the house, going through every nook and cranny. So they would have seen very clearly that this is an animal rescue place.
Yes, horses all over the place.
He said they have like 70 horses, and I assume other animals as well. So they go in there. What type of investigators are these people? I mean, you can clearly see it's a pet rescue place, and this is their job. The place is literally named after the squirrel. The proceeds from his social media is what helped them start the rescue in the first place. Yeah, someone said they have over 100 animals. Yeah, so they got all those horses, the other animals. So what type of investigators are these? That they would go in there and see this environment and still think that they needed to take this squirrel and raccoon away. They're saying that they euthanized them so that they can check for rabies, but I don't think that that's how this works.
How does that work?
I think they could test for rabies. I think the actual procedure is like they're supposed to be monitored for a few days and then tested. So I don't get why. I don't get that reasoning.
If that's the logic, that you have to put down every animal that bites somebody because you want to test them after for rabies. That makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. It really doesn't make sense. Why would you have to kill them to see if they have rabies? That's ridiculous. That's like killing someone and then testing to see if they had cancer. Like, that doesn't even make sense. So the logic is not there. I really wonder about these investigators. I also think it's a gross misuse of resources, taxpayer money. He described like a full-blown search warrant in there. So you had all these multiple agents. He said there were 4 agencies involved, 4 different agencies involved. And out of all those people, not one person said, wait a second, maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe this is a bad idea. I mean, they have to know that this is a famous squirrel. If they do something to the squirrel, it's going to be all over the world, worldwide news. Like, did they not think this through at all? Are they just completely lacking logic altogether? And that makes me very concerned about the people running these agencies.
Well, here, let me show you this. This was a recent tweet, and it said, this is coming from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and it says, DEC congratulates Captain Karen, the first woman ever to serve as director of our Division of Law Enforcement. A 26-year-old veteran at DEC, Karen has earned many accolades, including leading DEC's Special Operation Unit.
Oh God.
So one, they prided off this, first woman ever, like talk. There's a lot of controversy over that type of hiring, But this is Captain Karen here, and they say Captain Karen is the one that let me go back. Captain Karen here is the one that runs this DEC in New York. Captain Karen.
Yeah, I think she's the one they said deleted her social media.
Yes, her too.
Or so this Karen Prisclek,
Why don't we just call her Captain Karen?
Yeah, Captain Karen.
Captain Karen.
Director of DEC's Division of Law Enforcement. She deleted her ex account. So, that just goes back to what I was just saying. Like, do these people not understand, like, basic cause and effect principles? You take a famous internet squirrel and you rip him from his home and then kill him, and they didn't think that there would be backlash for this?
I mean, having the squirrel taken from the home, there should have been some sort of due process for him, the Longo, and the significant others to, challenge that and go through the court system before determining what would happen to the squirrel and the raccoon. But just to have them taken and then claim it seems like in the course of them being taken, somebody got bit because they came in there and probably startled things or animals or whatnot, and then they have to just put it down using that as an excuse by saying, "Oh, we have to test for rabies now because somebody got bit."
Mm-hmm.
How does that make sense?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, why wouldn't you test them first and instead of kill and then test later? So I just came across a tweet from Amuse on X.
Send that to me. Let me see it. Send it to me.
It's a little bit of insight about what she said on social media when you had said before that she was accused of bragging.
Yeah.
So what that consisted of, they're saying she was mad that the squirrel had more followers than she did and boasted to her friend she was going to turn the little rat in.
Wow. So it's just a woman here, Monica, that's jealous because the squirrel had more followers than her, and she bragged to her friends allegedly that she's going to turn the little rat in.
Yeah.
Where did this person get this information from?
Well, remember people were saying that she had bragged on social media but deleted the posts.
Gotcha. Yeah, I wish I could see those posts.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been interesting to see those the post there. But another thing is what they're saying is, yeah, Longo didn't have a permit, but he had some paperwork, and he was in the final stages of getting paperwork approved when this happened. So the fact that, authorities were aware and everything like that, and he was going through that process, and then because he didn't formally go through the entire process, they go in there and do this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just extreme overreach no matter how you look at it. I mean, that's the moral of the story here. It's government overreach once again. And a lot of people are really, really angry. So, and it just makes you wonder, I mean, especially with all the other things going on in New York alone, that this is what they're spending their time doing. Captain Karen planned she planned an operation to go in there and take the squirrel and the raccoon. And people, in New York, they're dealing with all the illegals taking over all these towns in New York City and everything else. And so people in New York are already kind of fed up with all this, the way the government is run in New York, and so this is just not going to help.
Yeah, this this kind of reminds me of, in the COVID eras where they were arresting like people having their business open during COVID and arresting people, these agencies, these agencies within the state going in and shutting people down and or taking their liquor licenses away or licenses away because they've had businesses open during COVID. But this is, to kill an animal is just, I don't get that. Again, okay, if there's a rule saying that, it's illegal to have a pet squirrel, again, there should be some sort of due process. And he has some remedy he can seek before the final determination. He get his lawyers and he goes through that process and they get their lawyers and they battle it out, whether he should have the squirrel or not, but just to put it down.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it's going to boil down to is.
But if I was the judge, I would say I would let him keep it for sure. There's no threat here.
Yeah, but it's like you said, so it doesn't seem like he received proper due process. They were clearly following some sort of protocol process that they normally probably do with squirrels and other animals that they come across. But he should have been given a chance to give his side of the story, or maybe even propose alternative shelter for Peanut or something, pay a fine. He should have been able to go through that process before they killed the animals, because that can't be undone. And so now here we are, and I think that it sounds like he plans to go after them legally with everything possible to get some sort of justice here. Because maybe that their life revolved around that squirrel.
Yeah.
Like let's not understate things here.
Well, it brought public awareness to a lot of situations. Like, it brought public awareness to their animal rescue.
Well, he was their whole world. They started that rescue named after him. This is what they do. This is their life. It's their whole life was Peanut, so that can't be undone. And it's going to, he can probably even in his legal remedies, he can also probably bring in the idea that this is going to be harmful to his business. This could potentially be harmful to his rescue, because maybe people won't trust them or something like that. So it has a lot of consequences, and I think he's going to go after them legally for sure.
Yeah, and it could be a political issue too. He could be championed around on certain political spectrums. You know what I mean? And as maybe about government overreach. Government coming in and intruding on your life on this extreme for something that shouldn't have happened. Yeah. This tweet out here says something very, very interesting. I do want to share this. Stay with me, Magnolia. It says, it's not about the squirrel, it's about the state. Terminating Peanut's life is symptomatic of the crushing weight and pervasive reach of the bureaucratic state, with countless taxpayer-funded minions whose success metrics into ruining others' lives. Their job performance relies on making life difficult for you and me. It's a pervasive incentive, and worse, we have to fund it. I think what set everyone on edge with Peanut is the very disparate treatment given to politically favored groups. Violent criminals walk free while innocent people have the book thrown at them. Immigrants are mass imported with welfare magnates, those most likely to vote for the Democrats who supply them, while hardworking producers try to navigate the legal process, and who are more likely to vote Republican are stymied. Diddy and company, along with Epstein, etc., all get away with all sorts of nefarious activity, while those who threaten the power are the subject of lawfare. Unqualified DEI picks are elevated to positions they don't qualify for, whereas those who merit such positions are overlooked because they have the wrong skin color. Government and the legacy media pump out all kinds of disinformation while accusing their political opponents of it. What's your take on that? Any truth to any of that?
Yeah, I mean that they're kind of boiling it down to what I was saying. It's like
Hardworking people get penalized while the criminals can keep going free doing whatever they want. No? Yeah? Or are you gone?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what I was saying before. It's like, we could just talk about New York specifically for a second. New York in particular, they are constantly seeing criminals being freed, violent criminals getting out of jail, just roaming the streets all over the place, all kinds of crime. Sarah in our chat said that actually the area where this happened is an area of high crime, Elmira, New York, that area. So, people are seeing that all these criminals are just, they're not having to even put up bail anymore. They're getting arrested. They're right back out on the streets immediately. And, this has been going on for quite a while now in New York. And so it's like a parallel. You see that happening. And then on the other side, you see these people who are trying to do good in the world. They're trying to help animals and rescue animals, and they're treated like the worst criminals ever. And even their animals are given the death penalty. That's what happened here.
Yeah, while crime is out there and it's all over the place, they choose to allocate funding to agencies to go after, like you said, people like this right here, Longo, doing a good cause, but finding, you violated this certain infraction, and sending all these stormtroopers to his house to do a raid where those resources and all those stormtroopers should be out there fighting real crime. The funding for this. So it just seems like the regular citizens, the taxpayers, and the middle class, or any people that are trying to do good in the world are the ones that get crapped on.
Yeah, people just trying to run a business, people just trying to go about their lives, get the full brunt of the government on them, and then all these other people just run around free, doing whatever they want.
Case in point, here's a meme. I actually saw this. I think Musk put this out there. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. It's about the stairs. Let me see that stairs meme. Let me see if he still has it out there. He might not have it out there. Maybe it wasn't even him. Let me just make sure. I'm scrolling down. Yeah, I can't find it. Well, he posts a lot of stuff. Elon Musk's active on his own Twitter account, but there's a meme. Oh, right here. Here, I mean, this is political here, but there is a point here. And he says the priority list. And he's like, you're down here and you have arresting illegals, arresting, RAPISTs, arresting, but then you step up and you kill a squirrel. And we don't want to make this political, but it's just like whoever runs things, why are they wasting their time doing this when we have other bigger issues out there? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Look, you sent me this meme right here. You are sheltering squirrels. Are you not? So I'm saying, it's ridiculous.
That's the Nazi meme.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like stormtroopers coming to your home because you have a squirrel in your home, and and forbidding you and a judge signing off on that. Meanwhile, like you said, what is it, outside near Elmira? Meanwhile, there's all types of crime going on. and they choose to ignore that, and it's pretty much in front of your eyes. Or even though criminals get caught or whatever like that, they get slaps on the wrist, but they waste all these time and resources going after. It's all backwards to me.
Yeah, it is. But, with this particular situation, I think it'll boil down to lack of due process. Because it sounds like this whole thing played out in just a matter of a couple days, where they came out, did the search warrant. I mean, the search warrant wasn't it just the 30th?
The 30th. So this is 4 days into it. Yeah, I got confused earlier when I was playing the video because they were out of order. But, at first he was going out saying, that Peanut has been taken, but wasn't sure that Peanut was killed or not. And then subsequently came out and said, he got confirmation Peanut was killed. So it's just a matter of days.
Yeah, but it happened so quickly. Within like a day or two. So they clearly did not give him any opportunity to do something different. They didn't give him any options here. If there was paperwork he was supposed to do, he should have been able to go through with that paperwork or whatever the process is. But just the fact that it happened so fast and it was such a permanent decision. I think he'll get some sort of settlement, or he'll get justice. I think he will.
Yeah, but you can't replace a loving animal, Remember I told you the other day, if someone walked up to me and offered $50,000 for OJ, I would say no. No money. I wouldn't sell my cat and my new dog for any amount of money.
No.
They become a part of your life. It's not about money. It's about them being part of your family and you having a bond and love, and they're part of your life.
Yeah.
So that can't really, compensation money-wise can't necessarily, to me, it's nothing.
Yeah, and I don't really even understand this whole accusation of rabies in the first place, because he's not a wild squirrel. He's domesticated. He's been living with these people for 7 years. It's not like he's just some random squirrel out in the wild that's going around biting people. That would be completely different. That's not the case here. The chances of him having rabies, I think, are probably next to nothing, first of all. But yeah, it was just so fast, and next thing you know, like they're euthanized, and the raccoon too. We keep saying the squirrel, but the raccoon, Fred the raccoon, both of them, they killed them and said that they killed them because they want to test for rabies. Yeah, I wonder. That's a good question. Has PETA said anything on this?
Would they? Because it does seem like this thing has taken a political side. A lot of people that
really?
It seems like a lot of the people that are supporting Peanut and everything like that is on the Republican side. And it seems like anyone on the Democratic side are not really saying anything about this. Right now.
Really?
That's what, to me, that's my take. If everyone is seeing it differently, I just see this issue might be a partisan controversy.
I think that the media might be trying to make it a partisan issue, but it's not a partisan issue, because people that I know, people that I follow, are all different political persuasions, and everyone I know is outraged about this. Everyone. So I think that's cute that they're trying to make it political, but I don't buy it. It's not partisan. This is not a partisan topic. Everyone pretty much feels the same way here. I've seen a couple people that are like, the Republicans, this and that, or they're like, oh, Trump is going to use this to win the election, or stuff like that. But this is not a divisive issue. This is a unifying issue. And so the media is going to try to make it a divisive issue. And that's just what they do. That's just how they are. So, yeah, they're saying Peanut had a Make America Great Again hat. I don't know if he did or not, or if that was just a meme. I've seen the pictures with that. A lot of those pictures I think were AI, but I don't know if he really had that type of hat or not. But yeah, that's just a whole other topic we could talk about. I mean, this is obviously a unifying issue where everyone is concerned about the squirrel and this family. So for them to try to divide people and say, well, if you care about the squirrel, then you must like Donald Trump, or I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's just stupid.
I found the squirrel with a cowboy hat.
Media, that's what they do. That's their stick.
I found a cowboy hat on the squirrel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, it's I mean, dressing up the squirrel and the squirrel being happy and everything like that. I mean, crazy. Now, let me ask you something, Magnolia, because, as some of you might or might not know, Magnolia used to work for Project Veritas. Damage control on her. If you were her, what would, because we've talked about, how people get their reputations restored, or what should they do? What should an individual do if they're part of a controversy or anything like that? What do you recommend she should do? She's being accused. She apparently got rid of all her social media accounts. What do you think she should do?
Well, this is kind of a pretty rare situation, because it's not only is she being exposed, but it's become a worldwide issue. So she's quite literally the most hated person on the internet today. So, what she's doing, what she should do: delete her social media, stay offline, not say anything. I don't think the friend making the video was helpful in any way for her. I think if she has friends that think they need to talk or say something, she should tell them not to speak on her behalf, because I actually think her friend making that video almost makes it worse, because now I don't know what other people think, but I certainly think that friend is involved now, because she inserted herself into this and she's protesting a little bit too much for Monica. So now I'm suspicious of the friend. So the only thing she can really do is just kind of lay low for a while, and if she wants to make a statement, she could do that like through an attorney and kind of give her side of the story. And there still is the off chance that she didn't really do this, but it seems like she did. It seems like she was making posts on Facebook, and people saw this and kind of know that she had bad intentions. So yeah, she should just lay low, and if she's going to make a statement, do it through an attorney. Kind of like how this is tough though, because this is a situation that's she's never going to probably come back from fully. I mean, she'll not like this is gonna kill her or anything like that, but she's always gonna be known as the Peanut Karen. Like, that's just who she is now. So that's unfortunate for her, but this is her new life.
You got some people like this that will say, "Oh, look at her behavior." Like this guy right here, Adam, says Monica gets Peanut the squirrel and Fred the raccoon killed, and has the nerve to post a picture of a rainbow 24 hours later. And they're posting her social media posts. So that's what they'll probably be starting to do. They'll probably be starting to put her photos out there, like what's her behavior, 24 hours after she did this, allegedly, she's posting rainbow pictures.
Yeah, I mean, when you're
like nothing.
exposed,
Yeah.
when you're exposed publicly and you're going through this situation, like used to happen with our people that we would expose, the public reaction varies quite a bit, and whether or not you can come back from it also varies quite a bit. It depends usually on your reaction to the situation. But in this particular case, I don't see a way out here because her actions led to the murder of 2 innocent animals. That's pretty hard to overcome.
You went as hard as say murdering animals.
Well, they did. They murdered them, and her actions, by certain accounts, led directly to that. So,
well, what about
her action caused the death of 2 innocent animals that are beloved worldwide. So there's really no rainbow here. I don't know why she would be posting a rainbow on her Facebook, because there's no rainbows here. It's all bad. There's no good here.
What about if she inserted herself and just boasted that she did this, but she didn't do it, but she just wanted to be cool and say to people, I'm the one that did it. But she didn't really do it, but just wanted to take the credit. People do that.
But it sounds like she posted her intent ahead of time. So if she's saying I'm going to turn in that little rat, that is intentional. That means that she did this on purpose, and she wanted something bad to happen. So she had bad intentions going into it, and now this is the result, and people are completely horrified. So she looks like a monster. She'd have to get, who I think, one of the people that I think in recent years, just to give an example of someone I think handled being exposed particularly well. The woman, I think it was like last year sometime, the woman on the plane.
Oh, the plane.
Who had that crazy meltdown and saying that MFer is not real and all that kind of stuff. And that blew up. It went viral all over the internet. And I think that she actually handled her situation pretty flawlessly. It helped her because I think her actual profession is PR and marketing, and that really helped her a lot.
Are we talking about her?
Initially, she was quiet. Initially, you didn't. Yeah, her. Tiffany, I think, is her name. So initially, this blew up. She was being mocked all over creation. And then she kind of took the situation and she did some little marketing and PR with it. And she kind of poked fun at herself in her statement. Finally, when she made a statement, she sort of poked fun at herself, and she took the blame for having a bad day, having a meltdown. She owned it. And she kind of turned it into like an opportunity for herself. And I think that she actually came out of it pretty good.
What about this one?
She handled it better than anyone I've seen.
What about BBQ Becky? The one that was calling in Oakland. Remember her? She was calling, call the police on some African-American man having a barbecue. Remember her?
I remember her very well because I've used that picture twice.
Yeah, she's a meme.
Once I used it for Border Karen thumbnail, and another time I made a meme. Actually, I don't think I posted. I don't think this was the thumbnail. I made a meme one with this picture, and I face swapped John Paul Miller.
Permit Patty. Remember Permit Patty? She was another one.
I barely remember her.
Yeah, I think she was like that. She's another one. Let me get the actual details. They have names. They all have nicknames. Permit Patty, BBQ. There was another one in New York City that did the same thing too. Let me find her too. New York City Karen. I just Googled New York City.
Yeah, I remember the one. There was a Karen that was like harassing a dog or something in the park.
Yes. This one right here, Central Park Karen, they call her. They all call her Karens. This was the Central Park Karen right here. she has to live in hiding for 3 years, according to the news reports. This happened a while ago, but yeah.
Well, so she's actually a good example to bring up in context of what we're talking about today, because as you see, her situation that made her go viral also involved an animal, and that's something you don't mess with. You don't mess with animals, and you don't mess with kids. If you do those things, you are ruining your own life, because people are extremely protective of animals and children. So I'm not surprised that she had to live in hiding for 3 years, because that's what happens when people have the perception that you have wronged an animal. So
We took the video.
so that same kind of thing might be what happens with this Monica. She may have to just completely go dark. Unfortunately for her, I think she depends on social media for her business, for her profession. She's a photographer, evidently, and so her social media is extremely important to her livelihood. So it's unfortunate for her, because now she's had to delete all of that social media, and I mean, who's gonna? I doubt her phone is ringing off the hook with clients.
She might have to hire one of these reputation lawyers.
Yes. I think that's what I would probably recommend, like a crisis. What she needs is a crisis PR firm. That's what she needs.
I showed the picture earlier, Border Karen Strikes Again, where we were using BBQ Becky. This was the incident that we had on the border we have this video out there. If you haven't checked it out, this was, we were down at the border, and a woman comes at me just for filming people that crossed into the United States illegally, and she's just the gatekeeper there, and she's just going Karen on me.
Yeah, well, what happened was the thumbnail, we had a picture of the actual Karen.
Yeah, we had we decided to take her off.
And she tried to file privacy complaint, and so she didn't win, but we decided to go ahead and just replace her face with Barbecue Becky instead. So, I don't know how she felt about that, but that's what we did. We changed it to the Becky lady.
Yeah, so,
Fred was a raccoon. I think he was also a rescue. I think we haven't heard as much about Fred, just because Peanut was the one who had the big accounts. I think he had like 3 million on TikTok and over 300,000 on Instagram. And so Peanut was kind of like the star of the show. I think Fred was in some of the videos, but we haven't heard as much about him. So I'm not sure, but I do think he is a rescuer as well.
Let's go get a squirrel. You ready to adopt a squirrel in honor of Peanut?
We should, no, seriously though, when we go to New York, next time we're in New York, we should go visit Peanut's Freedom Farm.
Yeah, we'll try to get a hold of Longo, or if Longo's out there, Longo. We'd love to hear from Mr. Longo. I'm sorry this happened to him and his wife, and just him in general and stuff. We'd love to hear tips at JLR Investigates. Would love to hear, and I would love to go out there and go to the rescue farm and see the horses. We love horses.
Yeah, Michael Bowen said, when you do things like that, your privacy's out the window. Yeah, so it's a problem. The problem here in situations like this is people are very entitled, and people kind of live in their own little bubble, and so in her mind, in Monica's mind, this squirrel is being exploited, and he's making all this money off of a squirrel, and this is terrible, and I'm going to do something about this, and she thinks like she's the one that's going to save the squirrel, or whatever her thought process is. But people like that lose perspective of society at large. It probably didn't occur to her that her actions would blow up to something of this proportion, but it's just because she's entitled and she lives in her own little bubble, and she probably had her little friends, her little co-conspirators, like, oh yeah, let's report his channel, let's mass report his channels and get his channel taken down. And I'm sure they were doing that. They were probably reporting the TikTok constantly. They were probably reporting the Instagram, and when that didn't work, they decided to take things to the next level. But again, it's like it's a problem in their own little mind. It's not a problem that affects greater society. So when you take your personal problems and you thrust them onto society at large, your life is done. Like, that's it. They don't think ahead. I think it's like they really don't think ahead. They don't have the capacity to think that way, and so they're blindsided by the backlash. And
plus, the internet has the capability to find out who did the reporting. You know what I mean? Like, there's sleuths out there, and the people, end up talking and open their mouth, and they end up finding the culprit, and then the culprit gets out there.
We need to get a copy of the probable cause affidavit.
Yeah, exactly. But imagine, you're seeing this on Instagram and you just have jealous and rage over someone happy with a squirrel.
I know.
Because there's nothing but photos of him happy and playing with a squirrel. And imagine you want to be a Karen and be like, oh yeah, imagine seeing this photo and saying, oh, well, I'm going to call up the DEC and have this squirrel taken out of his house because I just don't like the happiness here.
Yep.
Or how dare you? Miserable people.
Mm-hmm.
It's very scary. But we're gonna be on this case. She gets.
Hard to fathom. It is hard to fathom for me personally. It's hard to fathom. I really have a hard time relating to people like that, because I get stuck wondering how they even have time for this. I just can't. I don't know. I just can't even relate. I can't process being that wrapped up in what someone else is doing that I would use my own time and energy to go after them. Like, I can't imagine being that way. You have to be so miserable with yourself and hate yourself so much to do stuff like that.
Look at this, Magnolia, because if you look on, if you just look in the top news stories, I mean, this has gone absolute viral on all types of levels. Like this story and this situation, it's nothing but stories, of this. This is, and I think there's going to be more on this, right? I don't think this story goes away. Do you?
No. Well, she wanted attention, so now she got it. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, be careful.
Be careful what you wish for, Peanut Karen.
Yes.
You got the whole world's attention now, lady.
What if she didn't do it, though? I'm just saying, what about if she didn't do it?
Yeah, I think that's unlikely. I don't think there would be so many people reporting it and talking about it.
Well, there would be people coming out on her defense, just saying, wrong person. The people are getting it wrong. They're falsely accused. I don't see it on a mass scale at this point. They would immediately come out and say, no, she didn't do it. She got the wrong person. I haven't seen that. We only seen that one person.
Well, in the event, so let's just say, in the event that she didn't do this, that she's being falsely accused, well, then, again, she can hire someone to help her craft a statement, to put out a statement to the public and give her side of the story. If she truly didn't do it, then she should come out and say, I didn't do this, and here's my side of the story. But so far we haven't heard a denial from her. She deleted all her social media. Usually when people do that, it's because they know they're guilty and they're ashamed, and they don't want to hear the backlash. They don't want to see the backlash. They don't want to defend themselves, or they can't defend themselves. Whatever it is, she deleted everything. So, I think, yeah, if she didn't do it, if she truly did not do this and report these animals and cause all this havoc, then she should say so. She should certainly come out and give a statement.
Look at this. Look at this right here.
Yeah, Tammy said if she didn't do it, she would be on her local media talking, screaming at the top of her lungs.
He's literally eating waffles with peanut.
I don't think this is the last of the story, though. I don't. I think it's possible. I think it's very possible that we actually do hear something from Monica in the next day or two. Although I wouldn't recommend that for her. I just have a feeling, because a lot of times these people just can't help themselves. It's extremely difficult. Like the plane lady, what she did, she handled it perfectly, but that is extremely difficult to do because people don't have willpower. It takes a lot of willpower to stay silent and lay low off of the internet. That type of, it's very, very hard to do that for most people. Most people can't just, if something's happening and they're being bullied online, or they're being insulted online or accused of something online, most people will just react and say whatever's on their mind, and they'll just react, and then the next thing you know, they're constantly fighting with people online and all these things. That's normally how it goes. Most people don't have the discipline it takes to effectively navigate a situation like this. So I won't be surprised if we see her or hear something from her in the next couple of days.
Here's another photo of Peanut. Now I'm scouring all over the photos, just of this squirrel inside this home. It's just like it's a cool story. As far as the situation that had Peanut who he is, and then now this situation's just turned into a horrific story now that this happened. And I'm not trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? I seriously almost shedded a tear here. I practically did, even just listening to the love that he had for Peanut. So I'm not virtual signaling or anything like that. I generally think this is a screwed up situation, and this needs to be fixed to prevent anything, some other person going through this again.
Has the New York Post reported on this? I'm curious what they've said.
Yeah, I'm on the Post now. That's the one I was showing. That's saying,
okay.
Peanut the squirrel, beloved pet, internet sensation, euthanized after being seized by New York State.
Well, have they reported on Monica Keasler yet?
No, just a couple of media outlets, smaller ones, but not mainstream media yet. I'll put it in. I'll Google her. It's starting to get around on a lot of the Reddit forums. But as far as like her being out there, not yet. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it looks like NBC News. Let me see this. So, yeah, NBC News, did they post?
Well, I think every media outlet has talked about this story.
Yeah. No, I'm just curious to see if anyone. Yeah, so this article so this is actually Associated Press and NBC News published. Let me get this off of here. So they said multiple anonymous complaints about Peanut brought at least 6 officers from the State Department of Environmental Conservation, or DEC, to Mark Longo's home near the Pennsylvania border in rural Pine City. So they're saying there were multiple anonymous complaints that led to this.
I would love to eat waffles with a squirrel in the morning. Wouldn't you? I used to eat breakfast with OJ all the time. We used to eat breakfast together. Sometimes now I just feed her and then I eat later. But yeah, this is. I mean, look, he dresses Peanut up as the Easter Bunny.
Here's a little more info. Mark Longo, the owner, he's a mechanical engineer, and he was living in Norwalk, Connecticut, until he moved upstate New York last year to start an animal sanctuary. Peanut's Freedom Farm Animal Sanctuary opened in April 2023 and now houses about 300 animals, including horses, goats, and alpacas. And he runs the sanctuary with
Who's
his
Mark?
wife, Daniela.
His dad? Who's Mark?
Oh, sorry. I might have said the wrong name.
Okay. Yeah. But here's another thing is, too, you know, some people on Reddit are saying the state...
Isn't Mark the guy's name? Mark Longo?
No. Look at this on this, look at this right here. I'll read this to you. Give me a second. Let me read this to you because people on Reddit have threads about justifying, you know, the state being able to do this. The state being able to, you know, go in there and do this. So there's people out there that are going to find... Yeah, his name is Mark. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Of course, Peanut is the victim here, and it's tragic that she was killed. But the really senseless thing was the guy who decided to keep a wild animal as a pet. Wildlife rehabilitation sanctuaries exist for a reason, and it isn't something you can just DIY at home. Rabies is 100% fatal of the time, so the protocols are taken extremely seriously. Authorities can't make exceptions when a wild animal bites someone, no matter how beloved the animal is. It's unfair to Peanut that she was even in that situation in the first place. And then people respond, you actually need a permit. This is the thing in a lot of countries with strict pet laws. If you have a permit, you can take in and care for wild animals. And if they can't be released and thrive in the wild, then you can continue caring for them. So there's people justifying what the state did too. There's always opinions out there, folks, on situations. You know, there's always there's some people in the minority. There's contrarians out there. There's people out there that will find a reason to say, well, you know, he shouldn't have done this.
Well, they're saying in this AP article, Mark Longo is aware that it's against the New York state law to own a wild animal without a license. He said he was in the process of filing paperwork to get Peanut certified as an educational animal. And he said, if we're not following the rules, guide us in the right direction to follow the rules. Let us know what we need to do to have Peanut in the house and not have to worry about getting him taken. So they were, I guess, in process of doing the certain paperwork to have him designated as an educational animal. And he said he only had the raccoon for a few months and was hoping to rehabilitate the injured creature and release him back in the woods. So I guess the raccoon had some type of injury and they were trying to rehabilitate him so he could go back out into the wild. But
See, this situation, I don't want to compare it to others, but the thing I think is the Bundy situation with the cattle ranching out there in the West, you know, and like BLM was going to come in and tell them they got to, you know, pay for cattle grazing land prices or whatnot, and they were just defiant of that, right? And defiant, which led to a standoff and a big controversy. Some people think the Bundys were in the right, other people say no. But in this particular case, this guy was trying to, you know, initiate a solution here and trying to initiate some sort of, what do I need to do to make this legal? What do I have to do? It's not like he was like defiant of orders or defiant and screw you, DEC, we're not going to do anything and stuff like that. He was trying to get the paperwork necessary so Peanut could be an educational. So it wasn't like he was like sticking his middle finger up at the law. He was actually trying to work with them to try to come up with a solution to allow Peanut to stay.
yeah, so that's where I think his argument will come into play, and he will say that he wasn't given due process, at least not sufficient due process, because they came in there and took those animals and killed them, and literally killed them like a day later, and It didn't seem like they gave him any type of options to make things right. It didn't seem like he really got any type of help from them. It sounds like they tore up the house too in the process.
Over a squirrel, which is weird. Like, it's just weird that they would tear your house apart like that. That's traumatizing itself, you know? Imagine you have kids there. Imagine if he had kids there. I don't know. Maybe he did have kids. I don't know. Does he have kids? Imagine the kids have to see all that. And you're forced out of your own home, and your home is being ransacked. You know, and it's sometimes the same way. There's stories about the FBI going into people's homes on weird things, just nothing that's non-violent, not serious, and they just tear homes apart. Now, you know, like somebody like J.P. Miller, that's justified. But I'm just saying in other cases, just for very, very minor things, not like nothing, and they just go in there and just tear it apart.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's ridiculous. The one that you were reading a minute ago, where they were saying you can't DIY whatever it was.
Who are they to determine that?
DIY. This was like an actual animal rescue facility that they have paperwork for, and the process. You know, they're going through the process of doing all this to set up an actual thing. Whoever wrote that post you were reading is acting like these people are just hoarding animals or whatever, and that's just not what's happening here.
Another thing too is, like, even the judge, in a consideration of the totality of the circumstances, you know, if a judge sees someone making attempts to try to fix the matter, it carries a lot more weight than someone that is totally defiant of a situation, right? What I mean is, you know, again, like if he was told he can't have this, or he didn't even file any paperwork and was just defiant in general and just said, screw you people, New York, don't come to my house, don't mess with my affairs, nothing like that. But it seems like he was trying to fix this matter so he can have, you know, his sanctuary and have Peanut remain there by doing paperwork and whatnot. Maybe the paperwork should have been done. I wonder how long, you know, maybe, you know, sometimes bureaucratic red tape prevents people from getting things happen because you got to go through here, you got to go through there, and then that paperwork takes a whole year, you know, years and years of process to go through.
Yeah, they make those processes very cumbersome.
New York reminds me that's, you know, bureaucratic red tape. I just feel New York is one of those obstacles, you know?
Yeah, New York in general, I would say, is one of the most oppressive states as far as like freedoms and liberties and things like that. It's very noticeable when you go to New York. There's lots and lots of little things that you notice when you're in New York, and Jonathan always gets so annoyed.
I hate New York City. I hate going in there. They're talking about congestion tax and all types of things, you know, like.
No, the thing that's the worst is like when you go to the store and you buy a bunch of stuff and they don't give you a bag.
They don't give you a bag. They got things locked up. Like you go to you go in the store and half the product is all locked up inside a like I don't know, they're locked up and they have to have an employee come and unlock it.
Yeah, it's like a million little things that are just different.
It turns your normal everyday experience into some sort of like you have to get permission to get this stuff. It's just a hassle, and it turns it into hours of being there because you got to go, hello, I need somebody to open this up for me, and then I have to have my own bags.
They don't have bags. There's some states where they'll ask you, do you want a bag, and they'll charge you like 5 cents or whatever for the bag. But a lot of places don't even have bags at all. And if you ask them, do you have a bag, they just stare at you like, what? No, we don't have bags. And they basically expect you to bring your own bags to the store, I guess. But it's just a series of things like that. And the paper straws is another one. Just a lot of those little things. And it adds up to where it just makes your life more difficult. There's like all these little annoyances you have to deal with all the time. And during COVID, it was just completely insane in New York.
Yeah,
It
on
was
top of all
unreal.
these like new additional agencies, like like commissions and agencies on top of rules already, and it's just like it's just a big mess. So
Yeah.
imagine trying to get a permit in New York. I wonder what type of things you have to go, hurdles you have to take to get a permit for anything in New York. What's crazy? It reminds me of a jurisdiction. It was city of Castleberry, Florida. When Hurricane Milton came through, the governor of Florida was like, everyone can build back what you lost, whatever. This small community called Castleberry was telling everyone, if you have more than 2 panels of fencing that was, destroyed during Hurricane Milton, you got to secure a permit to rebuild anything that you lost from that storm. And people are like, what? Are you kidding me? And it's just too much. The point I'm making is it's just too much.
Yeah, everything is. They make things so difficult to accomplish basic tasks. It's just always something. So, and you always feel like you're trying to go on about your day, and then there's a random roadblock that something you weren't expecting. California is similar. Some places in California, San Francisco obviously is a complete disaster. You can't go in any store without everything being locked up out there. But it's similar. But
I want to read a comment here. I want to read a comment.
Just overall, the New York government has become so big and so powerful, and there's all these rules that you don't really have in other places. And this situation is just an illustration of overall, I think, how people feel about the government in New York.
Young and Shirley says Governor of Massachusetts issued a rehab license to save a beaver, so why couldn't it be done for Peanut? I actually think Cuomo would have saved him even with his fault. LOL. He liked to be liked. Governor K blows. Thank you for sharing that. And we're talking about Governor Kathy. Interesting, right? So a rehab license to save a beaver. So do they have that option to get a rehab license, for an animal? I mean, to say Peanut couldn't live in that home, there is exceptions to everything, right? And there's exclusions and exceptions. And, to say that, oh, well, Peanut couldn't live in the home where, he actually tried to get Peanut out there and Peanut got attacked. Peanut couldn't take the outdoors. So, keeping Peanut in there, and Peanut's safe, and they look like they're responsible peanut owners and, squirrel owners, and, their business is this type of work. It's not like these guys don't, just have a pet squirrel inside the house and they're out there working during the day and just leaving this pet alone in the house every day and they just come home. I mean, this is their line of work.
Yeah, I think that's just the overall issue, is that they were not given, it doesn't sound like they were given any options for recourse here. They just took the pets and killed them and didn't even want to have a discussion about it. So I think that's the problem. It kind of boils down to that. He wasn't really given options, it doesn't sound like. And they're saying that one of the agents during the raid was bitten, and so that's why they're claiming that the animal had to be taken and euthanized and tested for rabies because someone was bitten. But
they expect any animal to, you go to someone's house and try to take someone's dog from them and see what the dog tries to do to that person that tries to take the dog.
Well, yeah, I mean, and they're coming in there guns blazing, all these agents doing a search warrant, and it's scary for the animals. So it's not surprising that if that happened, I mean, I don't even know if that actually happened, because one of the posts I read pointed out that these agents would have been wearing gloves anyway, probably when they're doing the search warrant. So I don't really buy that about the biting incident. If that happened, it was provoked by the raid itself. And even still, you don't just take the animal and kill it.
Not at all. Scary times. Well, hopefully there's some sort of reform and to prevent this, tragedy from ever happening again. Save the squirrels out there, ladies and gentlemen. Save the squirrels.
Yeah, Kathy Hochul is going to have to come out, I think, on this one. I don't see any other options for her. I think she's going to have to come out and say something on this issue, and it better be good. It better be good, whatever she says.
What about the President of the United States speaking out? What do you think? Joe Biden will come out and speak? You think it will go to that level?
I really can't see him getting into this issue. I don't know. I don't think we would see that, no.
No.
But I think Governor Hochul definitely needs to address this topic. She can't not. She has to say something.
Yeah. We'll keep everyone we'll keep everyone informed on this. Great work, Magnolia. Thanks for coming in on this morning. I think we touched all the bases on this. Anything else you want to add?
No, I'll just give a little update on Rio. He had a good night last night. He actually slept through the night. As far as I know, I never heard a peep out of him until about 6 this morning, and then he made his presence very well known. He wanted out of the crate, and he's walking around a little more. He's eating really good. He's just getting used to his new environment, so awesome. He's doing well.
Rio is our new doggy, so you'll see more of Rio on JLR Investigates. We're taking him with us, Newshound. Rio will be walking in a few months pretty good. He's walking around now, but he's going to be running around like a little lap dog, and he's going to be coming with us on our news adventures, so stay tuned for that for sure. Rest in peace, Peanut, and the raccoon, Fred. Sad times.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Magnolia.
All right, bye.
Peanut Karen, what's going to happen, folks? Is she innocent or guilty here? Is she not involved? She's involved. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you know anything about this case and you want to share some insider information or you want to set the record straight, tips at JLR Investigates. We will love to hear from you. Tips at JLR Investigates. We love pets on JLR Investigates. We are I love all animals. I don't even kill bugs, folks. I don't even feel comfortable killing ants. I really don't, some people, I like all life. I like all life. We'll talk soon. Have a good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. We cover true crime 24/7, 365 on JLR Investigates. Have a great day, everyone. Love your animals. Protect the pets. Have a good day.